Right, I tried to film this the other day and I had the baby with me and it just didn't work. It did not work, my loves, because he's mobile now, he's crawling and he's up and down, he's around. I was going no. So I've just bribed the husband into having the baby for 5 minutes so I could film this, and then I'll go to the shop for him. I don't know how light it is in here. One more. Right, this is 5 reasons to still do read alouds with a child that can comfortably read themselves. So it could be an older child or a child that's just picked up reading really quick and is quite capable and comfortable reading to themselves. So, number 1, enjoyment. This is the second book in the series. But the first one, this is Nightmares, the Sleepwalker Tonic, but Nightmares, the original book. My oldest Pudge, who's 11, read it for his independent reading, but because he's dyslexic, we do like, he reads 2 pages, I read 2 pages, he reads 2 pages, I read 2 pages. And he did quite a thick book, and he did get through it eventually, but he enjoyed it enough to want it as a read aloud. So we read it before we read it, because he enjoyed it so much. We're on to the second one, but we read it as a read aloud, me reading it to them, and he said to me that, you know, not having to concentrate on reading, because he's dyslexic, not having to concentrate on reading, they enjoyed it extra much with me reading it to him, because he could just relax and sit back and listen. And also there were things in it that he hadn't picked up on the first time, and because I weren't in teacher mode, you know, listening, making sure you're getting right words right, all the rest of it, there's things in it I picked up that I didn't necessarily pick up the first time we read it. So to really enjoy a book where they don't want to stress about it, reading it perfectly, to really enjoy a book. And learning to read is not just learning what the letters are, it's fostering a learning to love. I'm really tired, that's why I'm like, baby got up after early. It's learning to read is not just learning your letters, it's fostering a love of reading. So if you reading aloud enables them to really enjoy a book, then it's very professional, this video, then it's worth doing. Number 2, cutting out inappropriate things. It isn't up here, I must have put it back. I normally like Jacqueline Wilson. She's normally an author we can trust, or trust to a certain degree. I know roughly how her stories are going to go. But we read a book by Jacqueline Wilson called Cookie for a read aloud, and it come totally out of nowhere. There was at a kids' party, and they were singing karaoke, and there was one sentence in the entire book. Was one sentence, and it's about sex. I read it out on one of my Patreon videos, I think, but I don't want to misquote it, so I'm not going to say. But there was one sentence in the entire book that was just about sex, and it comes from nowhere. And I don't appreciate things like that coming out where I'm not expecting them. But because it was a read aloud and I was reading it to the kids, my eyes was managed to scan ahead, and I could just not read that one sentence. So read alouds are good for editing out inappropriate things, or things that are against your culture, depending on what your culture is. Whereas if you just hand them a book that you've never read and go, right, read that out, you don't necessarily know what's going to crop up in it, especially nowadays. Number 3, cover topics. Normally, I always let the kids pick what they're reading, because I think if it's something they want to read, they're more likely to read it. But read alouds, 99% of the time I let them pick it. But every now and again, if there's something I want to cover, or it coincides with something that's going on, or something we're learning about, I'll slip a book in. Like when we was doing about World War II, I slipped in Carrie's War and Wavy Goodbye, things like that. And so it's an ideal way for you to slip in books that cover certain topics you want to cover. And also, if it's a book that they've not chosen and you read it, they'll probably get into it. But if it's a book that you want them to read and you say, I'll read that as your independent reading, there's nothing to say they're actually going to read, or if they're going to skim through some of it and pretend they've read it and not really take it in because they didn't really want to read it anyway. So to cover certain topics and to make sure they're covered, read aloud. Number 4, being read to and listening really builds up your comprehension skills and your listening skills. They do whole workbooks on comprehension, but if they're just listening to you reading a story and you have a little chat about it later, or you ask them a couple of questions but not in an obvious like you're not listening way, that's comprehension. You don't need workbooks on it, a curriculum on it. And listening skills, I mean, there's so many. Listening is important anyway, just for general social skills, but there are so many jobs where you need good listening skills, and you can go on courses to learn listening skills. But just listening to somebody read to you is a good skill. Listening is a good skill. And the last one is, there are no rules. If your child's still happy being read to and you want to read to them and you're enjoying it and you're building up a connection, happy memories doing that, keep doing it. There are no rules. There's no rule to say, oh, they're too old to be read to. Nah. They're not. If you want to do it, do it. Stuff them. Stuff the people who say you can't. I mean, right. I'm going to go now, my loves. There are my 5 reasons you can still do read aloud with an older child or a child who can comfortably read themselves. I will be back for exclusive homeschool vlogs and blogs. Please check out my Patreon. It's been very helpful at the moment because we're broke. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye bye.